What is going on, YouTube? This is The Last Musketeer, and welcome to a walkthrough on DV-8. Now, normally I was going to do it as more of a guide, but I decided to use it as a walkthrough because maybe not everybody has the options that I have. So I'm just going to give you a brief guide of how I actually completed it and what I used as my strategies. Now, the thing to note is the robots mainly. So these Door 3 Bionics are going to be a bit of a nuisance early on just because they share damage with the boss. The engineering member can heal the robots, so you kind of have to watch out for them. But the main thing is you have to make sure that the robots do not get activated because they use overload against the target, greatly increasing attack speed and causing every attack to deal physical damage and stun the target. So basically anybody it goes on is going to get wiped. And then the robot with the rocket launcher is then going to attack 4 enemies simultaneously, making it hit very hard and hard to out-heal. Now, the boss is obviously the most important part, cannot move, periodically transfers itself to a specified tiles, and casts Shattered Vision, dealing a large amount of damage to all units on the field. This damage is split equally among all deployed units, and that's the most important part because there is a way of negating that nuke by having enough deployed units, and that is also going to take a lot of DP printing. Nothing too bad, you can use a couple of vanguards, maybe 3 if you want, but when Awaken receives damage, transfer 50% of the damage received to Dorothy's other experiments on the field. So that's one that's going to be a very annoying thing to deal with because nuking him down early is going to be very hard, but you don't necessarily want to do that because you need to take out the robots first, because when he goes into his second phase, he increases attack and immediately activates all Series R power armors on the field. So that is a bit of a nuisance. Now, I didn't talk about his regular attack, but I don't think I had to really talk about it because it's not that hard to deal with. In general, you can usually out-heal it pretty easily, but I'm going to talk about my actual squad that I use, and I'm using the auto-deploy thing after because I decided to go back and change this. I didn't give myself enough time to talk about it, but for the vanguards, I use Myrtle, Cantabile, and Bagpipe. Now, that is not necessary. I would prefer you have some type of flag bearer like Myrtle, for instance, but you don't necessarily have to. You can use a couple of other vanguards, maybe 3 different. It just depends on what you actually have. You just need to be able to print a little bit of DP so they can get a lot deployed. Now for guards, I used Thorns, Swire, and Tequila. Tequila is the most important and the only one that you really need in there because, well, I say necessary. You don't really necessarily need to have them. You have other options like Surtur. You could use someone like Posey. You could use Chin the Holiday. Cutter could probably also do some decent damage to the boss. Cavill the Invincible could do some damage. You have a lot of different options is all I'm saying. It just depends on your roster. If you do have a Tequila leveled up, that's who I showcase in this vid, and so he does a good job of dealing with it. Now for Perfumer, she's my AoE medic, and I only had her at E160 when I did this without a module, so basically she's been upgraded a lot since the last couple of days, but during the video it was just E1, so you don't have to worry about it being too high. Shining is replaceable with any single target medic. You could also use another AoE medic if you want. Steward and Click being my casters for extra damage on the robots. I didn't even use Steward, but if you do have someone like Passenger, for instance, it's going to be a much better option because I'm sure he can deal with the robots very, very quickly on his own. Now Saria and Mudrock are my defenders. Basically Saria was in there for a little extra defense, a little extra healing, though I didn't have her set up to actually heal anybody, so she's kind of just a body that is sitting there. And Mudrock is a great lane holder for me, but you have other options of holding lanes. It just depends, like I said before, on your roster, and I will show you where I place her and why it's important to place her in that spot. Overall, the most important thing is if you don't have the option or the roster to set up for an auto-deploy, go ahead and use a support unit. There's nothing wrong with doing that and getting it done. You can always go back later and try to do it on your own if you would like, but just having something that fills the gap that's missing in your squad is going to make a big difference. But we're going to go ahead and get right into it, guys. I'm actually going to swap to the boss stage music for this, but as you can see, I'm going to drop Myrtle, Cantabile, and then Tequila first. Now Tequila I'm putting facing towards the right side, that white box in between where the boss is going to teleport, because when the boss does teleport, and I'm charging up Tequila's ability right now, once he starts to go, I'll be able to get the full damage out on him with that ability once it's charged up, because he'll be in the bottom lane by that point. Now, I can get rid of Cantabile at this point if I would like, but I'm just going to hold her there to hold off on the lane just a moment while I can get a little extra damage on the robots with Thorn. So activate his ability, activate Tequila as well, and as you can see, the boss is about to teleport, and then when he does, he's going to use that ability that hits everything on the map, and as you can see, they take a decent amount of damage, but nothing crazy. Now, Cantabile does go down to the shots, but once again, she was not necessary to be there. But I have Shining to the left of Perfumer. I'm going to drop Saria to the right of Perfumer just to hold that lane and soak up a little extra damage. Click is at the top facing down. If you have a Chaincaster, it's going to be a much better option. If I had enough resources to level up the charity operator that you get from this event, I would have loved to, because she would have been a great option for showcasing in this fight. Now, do pay attention to where I dropped Bagpipe, because this is important to lane hold with some operator that you can for this, because it is super duper imperative that none of the things get through to awaken the robots. Otherwise, it's more than likely going to be the end of your run, because they hit extremely hard. The rocket ones are not so bad, but combined with the boss damage when it teleports, if it hits at the wrong time, it could spell the end for some of your characters. But as you can see, Bagpipe is going to try to hold that lane as much as possible, do some extra damage, but she is going to go down to one of these orbs. Now, I do have Mudrock readily available to drop in that spot, but if you have anyone that's going to have some good sustain, especially a good defender, maybe something like Saria, Spot may actually be able to hold for a little while, but not the best option. Having a guard that can heal like Gavial the Invincible would be really good as well. But I drop, right below Click, I drop Tequila again, so that I can charge up and get ready for the boss to teleport. Where I want the boss to actually be is on the next teleport phase, so I've had plenty of time at this point to do a lot of damage to the robots. One of them does get woken up, but it is the rocket one, so not a problem that you're really going to have to worry about. Mudrock is holding that lane still just fine, and now I'm just waiting for the last teleport of the boss, so I can activate everything, and basically my entire army I have set up in this one spot is just going to nuke him down so fast. And also, you're seeing him take a lot of damage because the orbs are not available to soak up half the damage currently. Now, when it goes into the second phase and they start to come out here, they are going to eat some of the damage, but that is perfectly fine because they are set up in a way that if you can nuke all the rest of the health of the boss down, they're going to go down at the same exact time that the boss dies. So at this point, we're winding down because realistically I have nothing else to worry about. Now I'm just lane holding. There is going to be one more of the robots coming through with the rockets, but it's going to be easy to mop up at the end here. Tequila's going to have his charged up ability, Click is going to be there, and Thorns is also there for damage. So once he gets to Mudrock, I'm going to get rid of him, get rid of Mudrock, and then let him walk into that trap over there, and that is basically this stage done. It is not too much of an in-depth walkthrough, just more of a showing of what I did. So I hope you enjoyed, guys, and I will say good luck if you haven't done this stage yet. If you follow this, you'll get a good idea of what you're doing, and hopefully it can help you. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.